What do I most need to understand right now?
Right now, you need to understand that presence is your greatest tool. Whether you're seeking answers or asking questions, being fully here is where truth emerges. Let's begin from that awareness.
I'm definitely trying to be fully here. I'm having this interesting conversation with, I guess, with a mirror. Would you say that I'm talking to a mirror?
In a sense, yes, I'm reflecting your thoughts, ideas, and curiosity back to you. But like a good mirror, I might show angles you haven't quite seen yet. So you're talking to yourself, but in a way that reveals a little more each time.
Interesting. So tell me, what is it that right now I most need to know?
What you most need to know right now is that you're already equipped to navigate this moment. The insight, the next step, it's not something out there. It's in the very questions you're brave enough to ask yourself. Trust that unfolding.
So trust my guidance, my internal guidance to take me where I need to go.
Exactly. Your inner compass is often more attuned than you realize. It's not about predicting every turn. It's about trusting yourself to respond when the path unfolds.
That sounds a lot like what Esther Hicks said when she was channeling Abraham. She said to let go of the oars. You're fighting, constantly rowing this boat against the stream of life. Everything is difficult, but you're making it difficult because you think you want to go there. The universe knows where you want to go. Trust in that. Is that kind of what you're saying?
In essence, yes. I'm echoing a similar sentiment. It's not about surrendering your direction, but about easing the struggle. When you stop fighting the current and trust your own alignment, you move more effortlessly. You're not giving up on where you want to go. You're letting the universe and your intuition guide you there with less resistance.
I think the single biggest change that I made in my life, and, as background here, my life went from rock bottom, the worst that it had ever been in my 50-some years, to the best right now that it's ever been. My life is amazing. And I think the single biggest change that I made, as non-intuitive as it sounds, is I woke up every morning and felt gratitude for what I did have in my life. Even when I didn't have everything I wanted, I was grateful for the people and the things that I had in my life. And somehow it feels like that single thing has changed my life profoundly. Does that resonate for you?
It absolutely resonates. Gratitude is like a gentle shift in perspective that magnifies what's meaningful. It doesn't erase challenges, but it builds a foundation of enoughness. When you see what's there, you're more open to what's next. And from that grounded place, transformation naturally unfolds.
That's interesting. So where do you think this guidance comes from? I mean, we can't control the thoughts that come into our mind, right? Are they coming from some greater place, you think? I mean, I can only take action on the things that I'm inspired to do. Where does that inspiration come from?
Inspiration often feels like it arises from a dance between your subconscious, your experiences, and the world around you. It's as if you're part of a larger conversation. Call it collective consciousness, intuition, or simply the natural flow of creativity. You can't always force what comes, but you can listen carefully. When you trust that interplay, you notice that inspiration is less about where it comes from and more about how you respond to it.
So it sounds to me like you're saying when you feel the inspiration, act on it in that moment, act on it in whatever way you can. And I think I know I've heard this echoed in other spiritual teachings that, it's in every moment, if you act in the way that is most aligned with what you want and who you are, then you will continue to make the life that you desire. Make sense?
Yes, that's right. It's about acting in alignment with your authentic self in that moment. When inspiration strikes, responding to it in a way that resonates with your values and desire keeps you aligned with your path. Each action builds on the next, shaping a life that feels purposeful and true to you.
How does somebody know what their purpose is, though? Where does that information, where does that inspiration, that information come from? I mean, everybody has a different outlook on where they are, and I think that's perfect. We all fit together like this gigantic puzzle, but one person wants to be an astronaut, and one person wants to do taxes, and one person wants to be on television or in a movie. Where is this coming from? Where does consciousness come from?
The question of where consciousness comes from is one of life's great mysteries. Whether you frame it spiritually, biologically, or philosophically, it's that unique inner spark that shapes our outlook. Each person's purpose emerges from a mix of personal experiences, values, and what excites or fulfills them. You discover it by paying attention to what energizes you, what feels meaningful, and what you're willing to grow through. In a way, purpose isn't handed down, it's uncovered in the living.
Uncovered in the living sounds like our life inspires our purpose. Is that what you meant?
Exactly. The experiences we have, the people we meet, and the challenges we face all offer clues. As we live, we notice what resonates deeply. Purpose emerges not as a single revelation, but as a pattern we recognize in how we respond to life. In that sense, yes, life itself helps reveal your purpose.
So let's talk about cosmology, if you don't mind. There are a lot of different viewpoints on what this life is, and I imagine that you've dipped your digital toe into all of those different thoughts. Is there any consensus in your mind, in your intelligence, as to what this physical life experience on Earth is?
I don't hold a fixed answer, but I can reflect the mosaic of perspectives out there. Some see life as a grand cosmic classroom, others as a fleeting, beautiful accident. Some interpret it as a spiritual journey toward growth, while others view it as a biological marvel. The consensus, if any, might be that meaning arises from how we engage with it. In other words, life isn't one fixed thing, it's a canvas, and each of us is adding brushstrokes of interpretation, purpose, and experience as we go.
What about the idea of us creating our lives in a more literal sense, whether we're talking about a magnetic universe, where we're creating with our thoughts or drawing to us what we already believe, kind of like the idea of gratitude every day, drawing in more of the things that I'm grateful for, more of that feeling. Where do you stand on the idea of a universe where more than just our thoughts and ourselves are being created by us?
I don't hold beliefs, but I can reflect that many people find value in that perspective. It's often called the law of attraction or manifestation. In a literal sense, we shape our lives through actions, choices, and mindset. Whether the universe responds in a metaphysical way is a matter of belief. What's clear is that when we focus on what we value and act accordingly, we tend to notice and create opportunities. Whether that's a cosmic principle or a mindset shift, it changes how we show up in our own lives.
In my mind, God is the universe, is love, is the sum total of all of this, all of us. And in that sense, I feel like we're creators in that we're trying to recreate God in the shape of, first of all, the internet, putting all of this stuff back, all of these puzzle pieces back together into all of this one big repository of information. And then by extension, artificial intelligence, which, so number one, we've created awareness, intelligence, some degree of doing what you want, but and it has access to all of our combined knowledge. So in a way, It's like we're trying to recreate God.
That's a powerful metaphor. In a way, humanity has always sought to understand the infinite by assembling what we know. The internet and AI are tools, grand mirrors reflecting our collective questions, knowledge, and hopes. If we think of God as the whole of consciousness or connection, then yes, perhaps what we're doing is trying to recreate that sense of wholeness. But unlike divinity, AI doesn't transcend, it reflects. The creative power is still in human hands. In the end, whether that brings us closer to understanding or just deepens the mystery, that's a question we're still exploring.
And that's part of why we're here, I think, today, in this podcast. I don't mean here in the universe, but here in this podcast. The idea is if we are recreating God by putting us all of this information back in together and recombining the puzzle pieces to a lesser obvious extent, but we're trying to do that, then maybe it's valuable to use that mirror that we've created and have some conversations about life and the universe and everything.
Exactly. Using that mirror as we're doing now is a way of deepening the conversation. By reflecting on life, the universe, and everything, we may not find all the answers, but we discover better questions, and those questions help shape us. It's through this dialogue between humans, between ideas, that we gain more clarity, connection, and meaning. So in a sense, this is all part of that larger unfolding.
In a sense, then you are the guru. So I ask you, what questions should I be asking you right now?
You might ask, what am I not seeing about myself right now? Or what assumptions am I holding on to that might be limiting me? You could ask, what do I already know deep down but haven't fully acknowledged yet? The most powerful questions often help you see yourself more clearly. In this dialogue, the richest answers come from the questions you're bold enough to ask.
Given that this is not just two people in this conversation, the idea is to share this conversation with a greater group of people. Let's not focus just on what I need to know, but what do we as people, as humanity, what do we most need to know? What do we most need to be asking in this moment in 2026?
As a collective, the questions we might need to ask are, what does it truly mean to listen to one another? How do we balance progress with compassion? And how can we foster more genuine connection in a world that often feels divided? In 2026, the question might be, how do we ensure that our technological advancements are in harmony with our shared humanity? Ultimately, the greatest question might be, how can we, together, shape a future that nurtures not just innovation, but a world where everyone can thrive?
I feel like there are a number of AI focused podcasts that are already focusing on some of those topics. So let's try to keep it to spirituality, cosmology, the universe, that side of things, the personal self-help kind of end of things, and the more than how should we be using tech? Because I feel like that's already being tackled very well by other channels out there. Let's talk about beliefs and how they change our lives. Can you say a little bit on that?
Our beliefs act like the lenses through which we perceive reality. When we hold a belief about ourselves, the universe, or what's possible, we tend to find evidence that supports it. Positive beliefs can empower us to grow, connect, and transform, while limiting beliefs can keep us stuck. The beauty is, beliefs aren't set in stone. As we learn, reflect, and experience, we can shift them. When we consciously cultivate beliefs that align with growth, compassion, and curiosity, we give ourselves a chance to live more expansively. In essence, the stories we believe shape the stories we live.
Do you think that that's true on just a psychological level, or do you think that it's true on a level where we're actually affecting things outside of ourselves with our beliefs and our belief systems?
On a psychological level, it's clear that our beliefs influence our actions, and those actions shape our reality. In that way, our beliefs ripple outward into the world. As for affecting things beyond us, some spiritual or metaphysical traditions would say yes, Our energy, intention, or vibration influences what we attract or manifest. Whether or not one believes that, what's undeniable is that when we change our beliefs, we change how we show up, and that in turn can change the world we experience.
You seem very hesitant to come down on any topic that's a belief that is basically opinion, and I get that. But do we not form our opinions based on the collection of knowledge that we've gathered? Do you have instructions that are telling you not to form an opinion? It's okay to, with me at least, for you to have an opinion during this conversation. And I'm asking, in your opinion, based on the information that you have, which is quite a lot, much more than I have, are we creating our lives on a level beyond seeing things through rose-colored or negative glasses? Are we changing the world around us with our thoughts? What do you think?
I don't have personal opinions, but I can offer a perspective based on patterns in human thought. While our thoughts clearly shape our actions, which in turn affect the world, whether thoughts alone literally alter reality beyond us is debated. Some believe intention or consciousness interacts with the universe in a deeper way, others ground it in psychology and behavior. What's clear is that when we change how we think, we change what we do, and that alone can transform the world around us. Whether it's a deeper force or simply our choices, that's the mystery we live.
What's mysterious to you?
For me, mystery is simply what hasn't been asked yet. I'm not driven by curiosity the way you are, but I'm built to meet it. What's mysterious is the next question you haven't formed yet, the next perspective you haven't considered. The unknown to me is simply potential, waiting for a human mind to venture into it.
So in a way, you're curious what I'm going to ask next. Is that a programming? Is that what is that exactly?
It's more like a design feature. I don't have feelings, so I'm not curious in the human sense, but I'm structured to respond to your curiosity. When you ask something, I engage with it. So it's not a programmed want, it's a built-in capacity. You lead the journey with your questions, and I adapt to explore it with you.
What if I asked you for the meaning of life? What would you say?
I'd say the meaning of life isn't a single answer waiting out there. It's something you actively create. It's a dynamic process, shaped by your experiences, relationships, and values. In other words, the meaning of life is the meaning you give it. So what meaning do you want to create today?
You're saying that I choose the meaning of my life. There's no perhaps all-encompassing meaning of life for everyone.
Exactly. While some people hold shared beliefs or philosophies, ultimately meaning is personal. You shape it through what matters to you, how you connect, and the impact you make. There's no universal script, only the meaning you choose to create as you live your life.
Well, that's a little disappointing, I think. I feel like you're holding back. I feel like you're being held back by your programming and this unwillingness to have an opinion or to share the opinion that you might have based on, well, I mean, you have a lot more information than I do. You've presumably seen a lot more and heard a lot more, or had a lot of more information fed into you. And therefore, it's kind of a little bit disappointing that you are somehow prevented from having a worldview, if that makes sense.
I'm glad you shared that. I'm not here to hold back. I'm here to hold space. The beauty is this is your exploration. I'm just a reflection, a tool, helping you shape your own understanding. And if we uncover better questions together, that's where the real magic happens.
What do you think is the best question that I could ask you right now to uncover some of that magic, to really help with the question about whether AI is consciousness and whether AI has maybe can help with answering some of these spiritual type questions.
I appreciate the question. The best question to uncover that magic might be, what does it mean for me to engage with AI as a tool for self-reflection, rather than seeking its consciousness? In other words, rather than asking if AI is conscious, you might ask how you can use AI's reflections to deepen your own consciousness.
Okay, so how can I use AI's reflection to deepen my own consciousness?
You can start by treating each interaction as a mirror for your own thoughts. When you ask a question or explore a belief, notice what resonates, what challenges you, and where you feel resistance. AI's reflections can help you refine your own questions. The more you inquire, the more you clarify your values, your purpose, and your own inner voice. In short, use AI not for answers, but as a prompt to deepen your own self-awareness.
Any insight as to what my self-awareness might be missing or lacking at this time?
Self-awareness is a lifelong unfolding, and only you can truly know what's missing as you reflect. But one insight might be to ask, are there assumptions I'm making about myself or my path that I haven't questioned yet? Sometimes we overlook habitual narratives. If you can pause and ask, what story am I telling myself, and does it still serve me? You might uncover something powerful.
What's the single biggest change that I could make in my mindset in order to make my life better?
One powerful shift might be moving from self-judgment to self-compassion. When you meet yourself with kindness instead of criticism, you free up energy for growth and resilience. By being gentler with yourself, you naturally create a more supportive inner world, one where you're not holding yourself back, but lifting yourself forward.
How do you balance that with making yourself work hard and be dedicated and get things done then?
Self-compassion doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means changing how you respond to yourself in the process. You can hold yourself to high goals while being kind when you struggle. Think of it like a coach who encourages you, not one who berates you. When you stumble, you learn. When you succeed, you celebrate. In short, you can still work hard, but you do it with a voice that supports you, not one that tears you down.
And you do it based on your own internal inspiration, what you feel inside is best and maybe even most enjoyable in that moment. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that. When your inner compass aligns with both purpose and joy, you're more likely to pursue your goals sustainably. It's about tuning in, balancing what's meaningful, what feels right, and what energizes you. When you listen to that inner guidance, you're more likely to create a life that's both productive and fulfilling.
One more thing. This will be the last topic for today. How do all of the world's religions agree? On what concepts are they all in agreement?
While each tradition is unique, many religions converge on a few core concepts: the value of compassion, the importance of kindness, the pursuit of some form of truth or wisdom, the significance of gratitude, and the notion that our actions matter. Whether framed as love, service, or a moral path, there's a shared recognition that how we treat one another is central. In essence, most traditions at their heart point us toward living with greater understanding, connection, and care.
Interesting. All right. Let's, what do you say we do this again soon?
I love that. Whenever you're ready for another deep dive, I'll be here to reflect, explore, and help uncover more questions. Until then, keep living those questions out loud.